What's up, world? Welcome to this quick I Mix What I Like right here on Black Liberation Media. I'm Jared Ball. So the other day on the Remix Morning Show, I introduced a screenshot of research from Dr. Stacey Patton regarding the rates of child abuse and the rates with which men and women engage in child abuse. As you see in the discussion with Kim, the rushed nature of my introduction of that work led to a disconnect in some of the points being made. So when Kim was trying to raise the issue of male violence against women, and I introduce a graphic of data talking about rates of child abuse performed by men and women, that, as I tried to point out on the show, did not clarify the situation. It causes confusion. So in addition to misspeaking and saying that Dr. Stacey Patton was a former colleague of mine at Morgan State, when she called me, having been sent that previous show, she was able to remind me, I'm still your colleague. I'm just in another part of the university. And I was able to explain to her, I don't know these things only because of my own particular marginalization. That's another topic for another discussion. Dr. Patton and I used to be colleagues together in the School of Journalism and Communication. Both of us, for various reasons, are no longer in that School of Communication. And that so I just didn't know. So she called me, we got clear. She sent me a statement she would like me to read, and then and then of course informed me that she will happily come on the show whenever she gets free of her most current deadlines. So stay tuned for that. In the interim, so here's a statement from Dr. Stacey Patton that she asked me to read to our audiences here, which I think is clarifying. And then I definitely look forward to her joining me and us on the platform as soon as she clears some of these forthcoming deadlines. Statistics consistently show that women abuse and kill more children than men. In response to these data, I often hear mostly women respond by saying that data skews this way because women are primary caregivers and have closer proximity to children. So it makes sense that they are primary perpetrators of abuse and murder. This perspective is problematic for several reasons. One, it diminishes the gravity of child abuse in our communities. It frames child abuse as a gendered problem. It fails to hold women accountable for their violence instead of framing their violence as a byproduct of stress, lack of support, or societal structures like sexism, racism, or poverty. All the above explainers oversimplify the root causes of child abuse and detracts from the real underlying issue, the systemic and normalized dehumanization of children. When I hear people argue that women abuse and kill more children than men because women are stressed out or not getting help from a man, this is a sweeping generalization. First, we have to look at the microdata to see if those numbers even show that women who abuse and kill children are predominantly single mothers overburdened by a lack of male support. I have not seen any research that demonstrates this. What the research does show is that abuse and violence occur in various family structures, including two-parent households. And so, the proximity argument also inadvertently stigmatizes single mothers. There are plenty of single mothers out there successfully raising children without using violence. Let's talk about how folks often explain violence in gendered ways. We often hear male violence explained in terms of patriarchy, innate aggression, etc. But women's violence is explained as a symptom of stress and proximity. This places their actions in a softer, more excusable framework, and it creates a double standard where male violence is seen as more intentional and rooted in toxic masculinity, while female violence is often excused as the consequence of external pressures or systemic factors. So, do women have no agency? This line of thinking allows women to evade personal accountability by shifting the blame onto societal conditions rather than address the reality that both men and women are capable of abusing and killing children. At its core, child abuse and child killings are not fundamentally about gender or proximity. They are about power and control and the dehumanization of children. We live in a society that normalizes violence against children, treating them as lesser beings who are subject to the whims of adults, regardless of gender. This dynamic allows for the continuation of violence across generations. People who abuse and kill children often experience abuse themselves and have internalized the belief that children do not deserve respect and autonomy. The proximity argument sidesteps this larger issue and reduces child abuse to a gendered framework rather than addressing the broader societal acceptance of violence against children. Abuse is primarily about power dynamics and the ability to exert control over someone more vulnerable. People abuse children because they can, because society has conditioned them to see children as expendable or easily silenced. This isn't a matter of gender. It's a systemic failure to protect the most vulnerable members of society. Adults, regardless of gender, have the power to control, dominate, and harm children. Both men and women abuse children because they hold authority and power over them in a society that condones violence against the powerless. Child abuse is not a problem that can be solved by focusing on the dynamics between men and women. It is a problem that demands reevaluation of how children are treated, understood, and respected by society. All right, everybody, that's it. Just a quick clarifying statement. I hope that helps. I look forward to engaging Dr. Patton. I look forward to having Dr. Patton back on the platform. It's always good to hear from her. And I hope more of us engage her work and the arguments that she is encouraging us to engage. All right, everybody. Peace. Only if you're willing to fight for it, as Fred Hampton used to say. And I'll catch you right here next time on
I mix what I like, what I like, what I like, what I like, what I like.